I don't know what kind of day you're having. I started off my day with a few games of chess. I find that kind of gets the juices flowing before I, start kicking ass during the day doing the news. But however day you're having, however bad your day is, it's not as bad as one Mrs. Prime Minister of Britain, Theresa May. Prime Minister right now, probably maybe not within the next few minutes or the next hour. This is a zombie prime minister walking, and at any particular moment, her prime ministership can disintegrate under the weight of a failed Brexit. She's suffered several humiliating defeats in Parliament. You must understand, from the standpoint of Parliament, it's not like our system where you have Senate and House of Representatives and President and all these things. Parliament, for the most part, gets sway. They do what they want if you're in the power of the government. So the fact that the government has been losing votes gets across that the government is in shambles. Now, her vote that was supposed to take place from the withdrawal bill today, it was supposed to take place today. It's not going to take place today because the prime minister has pulled that vote because the prime minister understood she was going to lose, and not just lose, suffer probably the most historic defeat in the history of Britain. This is already after found in contempt last week for not publishing information in regards to the legal the legal findings for Brexit. So what do you do? What does the prime minister do? Well, the prime minister, seeing as she's been defeated in this and not wanting to put this up for defeat, was told that if you lose and you cannot get additional terms from the European Union, you will lose your prime ministership. Losing a vote of this magnitude, this historically, in and of itself, could trigger you to lose your prime ministership. So she pulls it, and she goes running around to the European leaders to beg them, please, 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 take away the backstop. We need to do something with the backstop. They're going to take my head. They're trying to take my prime ministership. Please, 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 please. I'll be your best friend. To which she ran into, while at breakfast, mind you, she ran into somewhat of a buzzsaw. Juncker, EU chief. And Juncker said this, in fact, this page will come up. They put all of these things on the page, and it takes forever for the page to load. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Right here. While Theresa May was having breakfast with the Dutch Prime Minister, begging him, pleading with him to give some agency in regards to the backstop, she ran into this. Dude, your website sucks. All right, here we are. Let's try it again.
The deal is the best deal possible. It's the only deal possible. And so we cannot. There is no room whatsoever for renegotiation. But, of course, there is room, if used intelligently, is room enough to give further clarifications and further interpretations without opening the withdrawal agreement. This will not happen.
All right, his voice was really low, so I'm going to read some of what he said. So that's Juncker, he's EU chief. He said he was surprised that Mrs. May dropped the vote in Parliament. I don't know why you were surprised. If you were paying attention to what was taking place, she was going to lose magnificently. And it is nonsense to believe that the European Union did not know that Theresa May was going to lose that vote viciously. That backstop was onerous. That backstop was extremely onerous. And I'm going to go through the BBC because the BBC really gives a really good, succinct summary of what's taking place and why it was so onerous. Essentially, Britain was not going to be in charge of its own affairs. They went into a situation to, you could say, take back control of our borders and all of these magical ideas. but ended up in a situation that would have been worse off. So he said he was surprised that Mrs. May dropped the vote in Parliament, which 27 EU leaders had already agreed upon. He warned it would appear that there are problems right at the end of the road, adding, "The deal we have achieved is the best deal possible. It is the only deal possible." Mrs. May is seeking assurances today in her visits to Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte, German leader Angela Merkel, and Mr. Juncker, the European Council President Donald Tusk, ahead of the summit on Thursday. He told her that there is absolutely no room for renegotiation of the deal. Let me close this because this page is freezing. Second to that, right here, Jean-Claude Juncker said Theresa May's Brexit agreement is the only deal possible, and he ruled out making changes ahead of the crunch meeting between the pair. There is one caveat, though. It is hard to hear, but when he's where is it? I'm sorry. No. Where is it? Right here. He did add one point, and right here. The UK Prime Minister has said she needs further assurances about the Northern Ireland border plan to get backing from the MPs. European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker said the European Union would not renegotiate the deal, but there was room for further clarifications. The Prime Minister is understood to be seeking legal guarantees that the UK would not be trapped in the Northern Ireland backstop plan indefinitely. I mean, because understand, it wouldn't be Britain's sovereign right to leave at that point. Britain would have sold away its sovereignty indefinitely. Yes, ideally temporary, but at that point, it wouldn't be up to Britain anymore. They would have given it over. Across the board, people are against this. The one catch to this is further clarifications. Now, I haven't heard people hit on this point. Let me talk about that secondary. Critics object to the backstop, a temporary customs arrangement designed to prevent the need for the checkpoints at the Irish border if a long-term solution that avoids them cannot be guaranteed, because it imposes different regulations on Northern Ireland from the rest of the UK. They also object to the fact that under the terms of the withdrawal agreement, the UK cannot exit the backstop without the European Union agreeing. All right, so right here. I haven't heard people mention this. Oh, you weren't watching this with me? I'm sorry. Let's flip this over so you can see it. Come on. Right here. A temporary customs arrangement designed to prevent the need for checkpoints at the Irish border if a long-term solution that avoids them cannot be agreed upon, because it imposes different regulations in Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK. This was somewhat an impossible thing. I mean, you must understand, the Republic of Ireland is in the European Union. The UK is not, or you can say Britain is not. The moment that Britain decided to leave the European Union, there was going to be different regulations, ideally, between Britain versus what was going to be in the European Union. Because there are different regulations between Britain and the European Union, and the Republic of Ireland is in the European Union, naturally, logically, that creates a border between Britain and the Republic of Ireland, meaning Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland now needs to have a border between those things because of different regulations on both sides of the border. How do you square that? How do you maintain access to the single market? And how do you simultaneously prevent there from being a border, which is, under British law, if I'm not mistaken, illegal due to the Good Friday Agreement? They used to have a lot of conflict, troubles between those things. The deal that they reached between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland has kept the peace for God knows how long. they're not going to break that, which was the issue to some degree that Theresa May was dealing with. Further clarification. Now, I haven't heard anyone else bring this up, so I'm going to bring this up. And I've read a few sites on this yesterday and today. This is a fudge. And what I mean by fudge is, no, we're not going to change it, but we can give an interpretation that may be more to the liking or may help a certain degree. Now, that fudge is only going to go so far because it is a fudge. It's a smear. It's an unclarity in the rule set. But that unclarity in the rule set is only going to go so far, and it's not going to repudiate the other items. Meaning, even though they may give her some leeway, the leeway is not going to do anything to get rid of the backstop, if that makes sense. They are going to tank Theresa May's prime ministership. You can make an argument that she tanked her prime ministership by agreeing to that backstop in the first place. I mean, after all, you're selling away your sovereignty. I mean, for fuck's sake. But long story short, she's begging for various concessions. And based on what Juncker is saying, and with the applause that he got when he said no, you can see how this is going already. This is early in the morning, and this is not going well. Old gringo, seed money for your acting classes. Oh, that's funny. Jamarl, I wonder about the economics of the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. I am thinking that a lot of trade between the two forms of visiting tourism and buying products. So here's the thing. You know, the Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland was an afterthought. When they were proposing Brexit and everything else, they didn't think of Ireland at all. And that became one of the main things, that became one of the main contentious issues. The UK could and should give back the 6 occupied countries. That's the other point. The problem with that is no prime minister in their right mind is going to give back the Republic of Ireland. Northern Ireland to the Republic of Ireland. They're not going to do it. And more to the point, Theresa May is incentivized not to do it because her prime ministership is dependent upon the DUP. The DUP are fanatics and are not going to. They're not going to allow it. She was on the phone with the DUP. What is the woman? Arlene Foster, and she essentially said that backstop has to go. This deal is dead on arrival, and if she brings it back again, it is going to fail. Isn't Gibraltar type of solution available, possible in Ireland? I don't know, Madoff. I'm not sure with that. I mean, up to this point, they've been talking about like technological solutions and magic, but they haven't necessarily had a real idea for it. I mean, because think about it. It's somewhat of a logic issue. You have 2 separate sides. The regulations for both of these sides are different. Well, if items could potentially come from Britain into Northern Ireland that are going to run afoul of the regulations of the European Union, then what do? You got to have a border, right? You have to check to make sure that the items coming from point A to point B meet your regulatory standards. It's like, how do you square that? Yes, unify Ireland is the way to do it, but they would never do that. That is off the table as an option. That is off the table as an option. They would never do that, but that would be a sensible solution. Let them, what's the word I'm looking for? It's pilfer is not the right word for it, but there's a legal term for it. But essentially, give Northern Ireland to the Republic of Ireland, issue solved. Britain can leave and go wherever it wants. Leave Ireland to its devices into the European Union. The only reason this is an issue is because Britain is trying to hold on to Northern Ireland. The prime ministership is dependent, however, on Northern Ireland, because if it wasn't, she wouldn't be prime minister. Just saying. Just saying. This is fascinating politics. Fascinating politics. I have one more story on the European Union, on Britain and the European Union, and I'm paying attention to the news that's taking place today as it happens. But as it stands, Theresa May is begging the various leaders to do her solid. Do me a favor, dog. I need you to do something with this backstop. So, we'll see. But I'm doubtful. And right now, they seem to be in this mindset of, we're a rules-based organization. This is the best that we got. It's either this deal or no deal. I'm sorry your prime ministership is about to fail, but this is the best we can do. But I still say that fudge of clarification matters. He wouldn't have said it if it didn't have a certain political significance. It's a fudge. It's a smear. This is not a hard and definitive thing, but within the rule set, we can talk about it to figure out what this may mean. But no, we're not changing the document. This is the best we got. It's politics, man. It's fucking phenomenal. I'll be right back within probably 5-10 minutes, just enough time for me to flip to the next one. I'll see you guys shortly. If you guys enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support the PayPal or Patreon. Thanks all. And oh, Gringo, thank you for the money for the acting lessons. I'll see you in a few, about 10 minutes. Thanks all.